So we're saying goodbye to my Amflow PL Carbon Pro. I'm going to be replacing this bike. It's a sad day. I love this bike. It's probably my favorite e-bike that I've used to date. The combination of the DJI Avanox motor system and all of the supporting components mean it's pretty much the most complete e-bike on the market right now, in my opinion. That means that I'm very sad to lose this bike. And yeah, today I'm just going to give you a little update about what's going on, because some of you are probably a bit confused by the title. I've only had this bike for about 6 or 7 months now, I think. And yeah, I'm already getting rid of it. I'm going to explain what's going on in this video, and then later on, well, in a minute actually, I'm going to show you my new bike and I'm going to tell you why I've chosen this new bike. Now you may be thinking, Will, if you like this bike so much, why are you getting rid of it? And that is a very good question, and I'm going to answer that question for you. So, I'm not replacing this bike because I'm unhappy with anything about it at all. I really like the motor system. The frame itself, I think, is really good for a first frame from a brand new bike company. I think it's amazing. I think they got the geometry like pretty dialed. It's modern geometry, like it's kind of hard to go wrong with geometry these days, but they kind of made it neutral, which is nice, a neutral trail bike, so that's good. I really enjoy riding the 4-bar suspension design. And of course the spec, having things like the T-Type SRAM EXO drivetrain and the Fox factory suspension, like you can't really fault this spec. So what am I replacing this bike with? Let's not waste any more time, and let's just get straight into it. So I'm not replacing this bike with anything too different. I'm actually replacing it with something very similar. And let me show you what it is. Yep, I don't know if anyone guessed it, but it's another Amflow PL Carbon, this time the non-pro model. I don't know, a few of you might be surprised because technically this is a downgrade from my old bike, but there's a few reasons that I've chosen to get one of these, and I'm going to explain them to you now. So the first thing for me is the sizing. My previous bike was a size extra large. This bike is actually a size large, so I've sized down. The previous bike had a 500mm reach. This one's got a 475 reach. The main reason I chose to size down is I wanted something that I could ride in a bit more of a playful manner. Even though these bikes are on the lighter side of modern e-bikes, they're still, well, this one is over 20 kilos, which is still way heavier than what I'm used to riding, what I've ridden for the past pretty much 10 years of my mountain biking like lifespan, which has been pretty much carbon fiber trail bikes or enduro bikes, which have all been around like 15, 14, 16 kg. So I like a slightly more playful bike. I don't regret getting the XL in my Pro model Amflow because it was a beast in a straight line. Like any rough stuff, it just ate it up. But when it came to tighter corners or jumps where I wanted to get a bit sideways, I've decided to size down. I've actually already taken this bike on a few rides, and you'll see a few videos coming up from those rides, but I'm already so happy with the decision that I made to size down, because I think personally, at my height, which is about 6'1.5" inches, I think about 184 centimeters, this size large is pretty spot on. So yeah, that's the sizing. The next reason is the pricing. So my Pro model with the 600 watt-hour battery is, I think it was £8,850. This bike in this spec is £5,999, which obviously is a big difference. And for me, I don't think I would ever personally spend £9,000 on an e-bike, but I mean, I would maybe not even spend £6,000 on an e-bike. I probably wouldn't still, but it feels more relatable for me if I'm riding a bike which I would actually buy, if I would actually purchase myself. So I think from my perspective, it's also like a small moral thing. Like they did give me the option. They asked me if I wanted another Pro model in a size large, but I actually said, I don't mind, I'm happy to take the non-Pro model because one, it's a slightly different bike, and I rode this model in a Whistler in 2024 and I really loved it. I thought it was really capable, so I wanted to ride it again. And also that price aspect comes into it as well, like promoting a bike which is actually more affordable is something that I like the idea of, yeah, from a moral like perspective. But another big difference between this bike and the old bike is the spec. Obviously this one has got Fox performance suspension instead of the factory suspension, so no Kashima on this bike. Personally, even though I prefer the appearance and the idea of the factory suspension, I really like the ease of use of these suspension products and how easy they are to set up for people that maybe don't have as much suspension knowledge. All you need to do is put your correct air pressure in, put the rebound settings to what the factory settings that they recommend you on the website, and then you just have one compression knob at the top that you can open or close where it's got a few clicks on it. And genuinely, I think that's actually sometimes way better because there's way less of a chance that you can mess up your settings and end up actually having a worse performing fork or shock than you would do if you had a load of settings to tweak and you ended up putting it in the wrong setting for a specific type of trail. So I do actually really like these cheaper suspension products, and genuinely out the box, this feels really good. Like I said, I've taken it on a few rides. I have no problem with riding these suspension products instead of the more expensive factory stuff, because honestly, who's spending over £1,000 on a fork these days? Like, that is kind of crazy. I'm not sure on the exact RRP of these forks, but it's probably still expensive, probably around like 600 or 700. I am planning on keeping the Magura MT5s on this bike. On my old bike, my Pro model, I had the MT7s and I actually took them off and replaced them with codes. But after doing 2 rides on these brakes, I'm actually getting used to them, and I'm still not a massive fan of the shape of the lever and the feel of the lever, but these ones have bedded in way quicker than the MT7s for me, and they have good power, and they haven't actually been making the same noises or having the same amount of rubbing as the MT7s did. So that's a big positive for me. So I'm hoping that they're going to continue performing the way they have been the last 2 rides, because I actually really like them. The shifting on this bike after the 2 rides I've been on doesn't feel as nice, of course, as the T-Type mech, or the T-Type transmission, sorry. I'm kind of glad about that, because if people are going to spend all that money, all that extra money on the T-Type, you kind of hope it does shift better under load, especially. That's where I've noticed it most, is this just feels a little bit more clunky when you're really putting the power down, especially with this powerful motor. But it's still a great drivetrain, this drivetrain. So I'm really happy with the spec on this bike. The build is everything that I need. I don't think I need anything more than this for my local riding or for trail riding and a bit of enduro riding as well. Next, the color. I think this color is actually nicer than the black and gold color, personally. You guys let me know in the comments what you think. Black is never a great color for videos because it always kind of blends into the forest, but I actually think this silver is going to pop nice. And yeah, I actually prefer a lot of the Amflow components like the stem and the handlebar and the cranks in this matte color instead of the gloss finish that they come in on the Pro model. And the last reason that I wanted to try out this bike over the Pro model is because my Pro model came with the 600 watt-hour battery and this one is with an 800 watt-hour battery. So I found on my bike, if I go out riding with my friends and they have 800 watt-hour batteries and I'm on the 600 of my old bike, I would either end up having to cut my ride short, or we'd have to change the route specifically to suit my bike. So I'm really happy I've got this 800 watt-hour now. Obviously it is heavier, I think it's almost 1 kilo heavier, but it's just something that I wanted to try, and so far I have noticed the difference in weight when riding the bike. I mean, obviously this build is heavier than the other build. I've got alloy wheels, I've got alloy bar, I've got a heavier dropper post. I guess I just wanted to see if having the extra battery is worth it for me personally and taking on that extra weight. Like, is it a trade-off that I'm happy to make? So yeah, I guess after a few months is when I'll really work that out. But as of the first 2 rides that I've done, I am very, very happy with this bike so far. So yeah, that is the update video that I wanted to make. Just basically, I've already filmed 2 videos. One is a range test between my friend Sam's Bosch CX Gen 5 motor and his 800 watt-hour battery, and this bike with the DJI Avanox motor and my 800 watt-hour battery. So we both went out and we put our bikes in the turbo modes, the most powerful settings each bike had, and we compared the battery percentages over the ride. So that's coming out soon. And me and my friend Sam also went out riding to a different location, and he had a huge crash that we got on video. So that's a pretty interesting piece of content coming out soon. Basically, I was riding this bike in both those videos, so I didn't want to post them and you guys be like, why are you on this silver non-pro Amflow? Where's your Pro model? So I thought to save all those questions, I'd make this update video. And yeah, hopefully now all the questions have been answered, but if you have any extras, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think of the color, the build, the bike in general, and I will catch you in the next video. See you.